So I'm in the kitchen area, and this has also been framed out for plumbing, etc. There's a powder room here. It's a little oversized because I'm including a shower here in the powder room. And I've also got a chase, which is just below the one above on the second floor. I'm filming this the same day of the previous video, May the 13th, 2023. And not only will this chase allow for electric and plumbing, but also HVAC. I'm going to use heat pumps with the refrigeration and condensate and electrical controls requiring just a 2-inch diameter opening to run. And so I have more than that here. And I'm going to have 3 units here on the first floor. The unit in the kitchen will be mounted on the chase up here. And these are cassettes that look very similar to what is used by the mini split systems, although they'll be not just for air conditioning, but they'll also be for heat. So I'll be using a heat pump technology because eventually I'll be putting solar panels on the roof of the pole building, and I won't care what the kilowatt hour price is because it won't cost me anything other than the initial capital cost. But that way I can keep things compact. So I've got a cassette in the dining room that'll go there, and it can access the chase from the right side. And in the living room space, I will mount the cassette probably up here. And again, I can access the space next to the chimney to run the line sets and condensate and electric controls. So everything is concentrated in the core of the structure. No plumbing on an exterior wall, no HVAC penetrations of the exterior wall, and so that'll make for a very compact, easy, and reliable installation. All of the rooms will have ceiling fans which can be reversed in their rotation, and that'll aid in the circulation of the warm air. I'm not a big fan of the hot air from the heat pump because it is the least efficient method of heating as far as the comfort in the room. As soon as that hot air is blown out of the unit, well, it immediately loses the heat energy. Now it's trying to heat the room up, but your best interior heat is hot water or steam radiators because they heat in 2 ways. They not only warm the air so you get a convection current starting at the ground and heat rises, so it uses that property of the heat, but the radiators also radiate heat, so if there's an object in the room, that object gets warmed up, piece of furniture, walls, etc. So while I would love to do hydronic heating here, the expense of a hydronic heating system that uses air to water or geothermal technology is a $50,000 neighborhood, which is more than I can justify. I could revert to a oil or propane boiler and hydronic system. That would be less, but I want to get away from the fossil fuel on site, and so I'm going with the heat pump, which is fine. I love it for air conditioning because I don't mind cool air drifting on me, but and it really, when you have a hot room and you have cold air, all that heat in the room is trying to warm up that cold air, so the air conditioning works well. But as I say, as far as the heat goes, it's not my favorite, but that's what I'm going to do because ultimately it won't cost me anything on a monthly basis. And here in this neck of the woods, there are about 7 months out of the year where you need to have heat. So that's what I'm going to do. In any event, we're going to take a look at the plumbing here. And so I'm on the kitchen area, or in the kitchen area, and I've got this powder room set up here where I have located a vanity. And you can see, for example, here's a drain pipe. There's a sanitary tee to connect to the sink, which will have a trap. And then this is the pipe that goes up for venting. I have lowered the ceiling by 1 foot in the kitchen area. so that all of the plumbing from the floor above, the 2 bathrooms and the laundry, can be run without having to hack up any structure. So here you see the laundry area. I've got a blue and red pipe that represent the hot and cold for the washing machine. That's the 2-inch drain pipe for the washing machine discharge. And then over there I've got a 1.5-inch drain pipe for the washing machine pan. This is the drain for the vanity. Now all of these will tie together, and you see that long pipe there. None of this is yet permanently in place, but I just put the stuff up there just to get a feel for it. So that drain, that's a 2-inch drain that'll parallel that beam, and then it'll come down into the chase here and cross over and pick up the main stack. So that takes care of all the wet on that side. On this side, what do I have? Well, nothing for the dryer, obviously, but what I will have are 2 showers and a toilet. That's the supply for the shower there. That's the supply for the shower in the master bedroom. I've drilled a hole for the vent. I've drilled a hole for the vent. I haven't drilled a hole for the drain because I don't know exactly where the drain is going to be because I haven't purchased the bathtubs. That's the toilet discharge from the guest bathroom, and that's the toilet discharge from the master bedroom. And again, these will tie together, and then they will go over and they will pick up the main waste stack. And there's the supply lines for the master bathroom vanity and the toilet supply for the master bathroom toilet. Obviously, the toilets don't need hot water, just cold. So that's drain, waste, vent. Here on the first floor, I have actually run the hot and cold supply lines. This will be for the kitchen sink in the island, and I've also run the hot and cold for the powder room vanity right there, and the cold for the toilet, which is right there, and then I have the hot and cold run for the shower in the powder room. And again, that's the vent for the shower in the powder room, and it stubs out above the plate, and it'll again run over to the main waste stack. I also have a hot and cold here and a drain. This will be for a sink on the porch, which will be centered under this window. Now, well, that's an outside wall, so have I violated my rule? Well, yes and no. I am going to insulate this wall as if it's an outside wall, but the porch will also be insulated. So this will be fiberglass bats in the 2x4 wall, and these are, new double pane, double glazed, gas filled windows. So there will be some resistance to freezing temperatures at this wall. So I'm comfortable with the supply for the porch sink here. Now you're looking at these pipes, and they're not metal. They are plastic in a sense. This is what they call PEX, P-E-X, and PEX stands for cross-linked polyethylene. Polyethylene is a plastic. It's recyclable, but what this does is it facilitates the installation of the supply, hot and cold. Because your water supply is under pressure, these can be run any place, any direction, horizontal, vertical, curlicue, whatever you want, and they are connected with crimp fittings. So here is a copper crimp ring. There's a special tool, and this one happens to be plugged off because I don't have it attached to a shower valve, but I do have it under water pressure. So all of the first floor hot and cold supplies have been thusly installed and under pressure and no leaks. So the crimp ring goes over a fitting, as I have done here with the toilet supply. I have a copper stub out, so when it comes time to put the stop valve for the toilet in place, I just take my copper cutter, and cut the copper and use a compression stop valve fitting for the toilet supply. But again, I've got the copper ring on the PEX tube, and you don't have to have blue and red. They come in white. I just have blue and red to facilitate the identification of the cold and the hot. So that's the toilet supply. This is going to be the supply for the sink, and this will be the dishwasher here and the sink in the island. And I have also actually installed a PEX line, a cold water only, for an ice maker. This particular fridge that I have inherited seems to be working just fine. It's nice and clean and quiet. What I don't know is how efficient it is energy-wise, so I'm leaving the power on in the house, and for the next month we'll see what the electric bill is based on just the functioning of the refrigerator. But in any event, there's a PEX line that runs to the outlet box here for the ice maker, should I ever get a fridge that has an ice maker. So that is the plumbing situation on the first floor. I have to run, obviously, the supplies to the second floor. These red and blue pieces are in there just to mark them. Those are just scrap pieces that I stuck through the holes above based on where the fixtures are on the second floor bathrooms and laundry. So at least when I run, I'll know which hole is which and be able to do that efficiently. So again, consideration, there's an LVL beam here. You don't want to drill through that. Didn't want to drill through any of the joists because that was part of the problem before, where they had cut the joists, as you see there, or put a lot of big holes in them and weakened them considerably, so much so that the floor above sagged. Hence the beam in place to jack that up, and new joists being sistered or installed. And this way I can run all of the supply and all of the drain, waste, and vent without having to hack up any of the structure and bring it all over to the chase and down. And this chase will also facilitate potentially expansion into the attic for plumbing and HVAC. So we're going to go downstairs to the basement so I can show you a little more about the plumbing. And I've got temporary switch set up for my lights, so that'll all be taken care of eventually. But the PEX cross-link polyethylene, again, you use these copper compression rings. This is 1/2 inch, and this is 3/4 inch here. So I've got two sizes going on. I have a special crimp tool, which is here, and I also have a removal tool. If I make a mistake and need to remove a crimp ring, this crimp ring will cut the crimp ring without damaging the tubing or the fitting. One of the reasons I chose the PEX system was because I can run the PEX from the basement to the fixture without using any fittings. No elbows, no T's, and what that does is it allows me to use the 1/2 inch diameter PEX, which without any fittings gives me full flow from its origin to the destination at the fixture. And how do I do one run? Well, we use what they call a manifold. And I'm trying to get you a good picture with good lighting of what a manifold is. And this is a manifold. So this particular manifold is an 8-port manifold, and those are the PEX lines, and they are all crimped to their respective outlet port on the manifold. This happens to be a copper manifold without any shutoff valves for each branch. But that's okay as far as I'm concerned. I don't need a shutoff. Each of the fixtures will have its own shutoff, the toilet, the showers, the sinks, etc. So I didn't think it was necessary to have a valve at each port. And I have a couple of ports here that are unused and they're just capped off. But all of these are actually under pressure. So what I have is this manifold is a 3/4 inch manifold. And so I have PEX at 3/4 inch diameter. There is a valve here to shut off this manifold. and the 3/4 inch pipe continues over the beam here in the basement and down to my inlet where I have the main shut-off for the house, which is shut off right now. When I leave every night, I shut off the water. When I'm here, most days I turn on the water so that the plumbing that I have connected so far is under pressure and no leaks. I have not had any leaks. Ordinarily, my pressure gauge, which is now at 0 because I've depressurized the system, normally it is 50 to 60 pounds, but a couple of times I've gotten some pulses that have raised the pressure. I'm not sure why. I'm trying to get a hold of the Public Works folks in the town to see what's up with that. But if the majority of the time the pressure is 50 to 60 pounds, then I won't need to install a pressure regulating valve. But if I do, just to be safe with the appliances, then I can do that. In any event, here's the main drain, and I'm in the process of assembling the drain waste vent. So this is the toilet in the powder room. That's the vanity in the powder room. This is the shower in the powder room. That's going to be the drain for the sink. And as you can see, the PEX lines are run. The blue, the cold, is pressurized, although not today because I don't have the water from the street on. But you see the PEX has these little clips so you can maintain the tubing in position. You can either have a very gentle radius bend, as I do here, or you can, with the aid of a bracket, have a tighter bend. This is a 90-degree bend on the 3/4 inch pipe, and this makes the bend without kinking the tubing. I think I've got a 1/2 inch one over here. This is the cold water supply for the vanity in the powder room, and as you can see, it's a tighter bend, but again, one that is not kinked, because you don't want to kink the PEX tubing. It weakens it and restricts the flow of water. So I've got a lot of plumbing fittings. I have to go and get some more, but this is the main drain for the house. It's got to be pitched at a certain pitch, and then this is where the stack from above comes in for the second floor and potentially a bathroom in the attic. Not sure if I'm going to do that initially, but at least I have the ability to do so. So from the manifold down there, which essentially does all the fixtures, including the hose bibs, on the first level, I have run another, or continuing the 3/4 inch supply to the manifolds over here. This is a T on the 3/4 for the hot water tank, and then I have another valve to control this manifold, and this manifold will be for all of the upstairs cold water. So that'll come in here, it'll go up the chase. Again, one fixture per port on the manifold, and with no fittings in between to maintain the volume and the flow. Again, I have the valve, so this can be isolated. I have a valve for the hot water heater, I should call it the water heater, and that's that branch there. And then this is what they call an open manifold as opposed to a closed manifold, just in case I decide to have more cold water needs. I don't think I will, so that may stay there for permanently. But again, this one is not pressurized because I haven't attached anything to this manifold. But this is a 12-port manifold, and while I have two extras down there, here I'm going to have 2 shower colds, 2 sink colds, 2 toilet colds, and a laundry cold, so that's 7. So this is going to give me a few extra ports that I will plug, obviously, but in the event that I want to add something. For example, if I do a bathroom on the 3rd floor, I will need 3 colds, a shower, vanity, and a toilet. So then that would only leave 2 extra ports here, like I have the 2 extra ports on the manifold down there, so that's fine for future expansion. So this is the 3/4 inch supply for the water heater. Water heaters should have, especially if you don't have a pressure regulating valve, a water heater should have an expansion tank. So this tank is half filled with water, half filled with air. At the top there's a Schrader valve where I can add air to the tank, and that tank's pressure should be equal to the air pressure in the tank should be equal to the water pressure, your average water pressure. So I think this has about 55 pounds of air in the tank, and what that does is it allows the air to be compressed as the water in the water heater heats up. The water expands. It wants to force it back in the cold, needs some in the cold supply line, needs to go somewhere, so it goes into the expansion tank. So here is the 40-gallon water heater. This is brand new, and this was fairly easy to install and to wire up. It required a 30-amp breaker, so I wired that in. And with the PEX, especially with a gas water heater, which this is not, but the PEX says you can't have the plastic within 18 inches of the water heater. So I've put in some flexible steel lines, and then I hooked up the red, because this is the output from the water heater, and this is also a 3/4 inch line, and it goes into a manifold. So this manifold will be used for all of the hot water, because I don't have as many hot fixtures as I do cold, because obviously the toilets don't require hot. So this manifold will facilitate both the first and second floors as far as the fixtures requiring hot water are concerned. And again, this is an open manifold, so I can expand there, but I think I've got porch sink, powder room vanity, kitchen sink, and powder room shower. And then upstairs I'll need 2 hots for the shower, 2 hots for sink, and 1 hot for laundry. So that'll leave me 3 extra hot water ports, which would be fine just for the future attic bathroom if I choose to do that. Shower, sink, and shower and vanity actually gives me a spare, because I only need 2 hots in the attic. Toilet does not need hot. But if I need any more, this is an open manifold, I can expand that way. So again, the idea is I don't have these attached and pressurized, but the idea is that I can run the PEX tubing like this one, which happens to be for the powder room vanity, and no fittings in the line between the manifold and the fixture. So again, maximizing the flow, minimizing the restrictions. So that's what's happening with the plumbing down here. I hope to, this is again the 13th of May, I hope to by the end of the month have all of the plumbing in and under pressure, and just leave it under pressure for a while just to make sure there are no leaks. And that way I can turn on the hot water heater after I get my the next electric bill and see how the refrigerator did as far as impacting the bill. Turn on the hot water heater and see how it does affecting the bill. And I will probably insulate this hot water heater. This is a 40-gallon hot water heater, which is fine for my household size, which will remain a single household, just one person, just me. In the future, if I'm gone and somebody buys the house and it's a family of 5, well, they can replace the hot water heater if they so desire. So new hot water heater along with my new electrical panel. So everything is, falling into place. I won't have a plumbing inspection until I get all of the electrical done. So the inspection agency for the town of Preston does the plumbing and electric inspection at the same time. And then after all of that is complete, which I hope to be sometime in June, then the only remaining inspection will be insulation. And I have a plan for that, which will be the topic of a future video. So anyway, that's it from the basement of my old house in Preston on Saturday, May the 13th, 2023, with just a little bit on laying out the bathrooms to avoid any structural modifications that would require even more structural work, and what's up with the plumbing system that I'm using. Thanks for watching.